Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to implement basic connectivity. Let's open our packet tracer. So, implement basic connectivity. What are we going to do today? So, we're going to perform basic configuration on switch 1 and switch 2. We're going to configure the PCs. And then we're going to configure the switch management interface. Background. In this activity, you will first create a basic switch configuration. Then you will implement basic connectivity by configuring IP addressing on switches and PCs. When the IP addressing configuration is complete, you will use various show commands to verify the configuration and use the ping command to verify basic connectivity between devices. Okay? So part 1. Perform a basic configuration on switch 1 and switch 2. Configure switch 1 with the host name. Okay, let's do that. So switch 1. So we are in the exec mode. Enable, we're in the privileged mode. And then he says configure. So we have to go to our configure mode. So conf-ter, host name S1. Okay. We're going to stay in our configure mode because step 2 he says configure console password. Should be Cisco. Okay, let's do that. We have to go to our line console 0. We're in that specific configure mode. We're in the line console 0 now. Let's put the password in. Password should be Cisco. Okay. Then don't forget login. Exit. So now we're out of the line console 0. We're back to our configure mode. We're going to stay there because we also have to configure our privileged mode password. Okay, let's do that. So it's enable secret. Password is class. Okay, that's done. Step 3. Verify the password configuration for S1. We can do that by tapping show running config, but we're still here in the configure mode, so we have to exit our configure mode. So we're out of our configure mode, and now we have to type show running config. Okay. Then here, let's see. So our password Cisco is visible, or line console 0 is visible, but our encrypted password for our privilege mode is encrypted. Okay. Let's exit. Now, use an appropriate banner text to warn unauthorized access. The following text is an example. Authorized access only. Violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Okay, that's a little bit extreme, but okay. Okay. we have to configure it. So let's go to our configure mode. Banner message of today. Just let's copy this. So you start with the $sign and you finish with the $sign. Okay. So it's done. Okay, if you want to see the banner, we have to exit here and then also exit your privileged mode. So now we see your banner. Authorized access only. Violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Okay. Okay. What was our console password? It was Cisco. We are now in our exec mode or in our line console 0. Let's go to the privileged mode by typing enable. The password was class. Okay, we're back to our privileged mode. Then step 3, save the configuration file to NVRAM. So everything is saved to our RAM, but now we have to save it to our NVRAM, and we just use cop rst. The file name destination is startup config. It's okay for me. Okay, that's it. Now repeat the steps for the other switch. Okay, let's minimize this. Okay, let's repeat step 1 to 5 for switch 2. Let's do that. Click on the switch. We're going to put them here. Then enter, enable. So we're in the privileged mode. Then we have to configure switch 2. So let's go to config. No. So first, what did we do? We gave him a host name. So host name s2. Here you can see it changed. Then we had to configure our password in console 0. So line console 0. Password was Cisco. So you see here we're in our specific configuration mode. We are in our line console 0 mode. Okay. Login and then exit. And then we also have to configure our password for our privileged mode, but it should be encrypted. So enable secret. The password here was class. That's it. And then we had to configure our message of today. So our banner message of today. It's this one. So I made a typo. It's this one. So that is also done. Okay, and then we have to exit here. Okay, and then copy our running config started config. So copy running config started config. Yes. Okay, that's done. Okay, we did it. Let's minimize this one. Normally your switch should look like this. So it should look like this. Enable configure hostname like so. Banner, message of the day, and then save the configuration. Okay. Next, let's close this. The next step, configure the PCs. Here we have our addressing table. Okay, let's do that. So PC1, I'm gonna start with PC1. Let's give PC1 IP address, and that's 192.168.1.1. That's PC1. The subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Okay, that's done. And then he asks to do the same for PC2. So let's do that. Okay. PC2 is 192.168.1.2. Okay. So let's close this. Okay. He asks to test the connectivity to the switches. Click PC1, close the IP configuration window, and then click the command prompt. I don't think the ping will succeed because we didn't configure our virtual LAN. So, but we're going to try it. So he asks to go to PC1 and then ping S1. So ping this. Okay. It will fail, but let's do it. Ping S1. Okay, it's this one. Okay, so 192.168.1.253. See, I told you. It will not succeed. Were you successful? Explain. No, it failed because we didn't configure our VLAN yet. Okay, let's close this. Here we're going to configure our VLAN. Part 3. Configure the switch management interface. Okay, so let's do that. Configure S1 with an IP address. Switches can be used as plug and play devices. This means that they do not need to be configured for them to work. It's true. Switches forward information from one port to the other based on the MAC address. It's true, because in my previous video I told you switches talk in MAC addresses, not in IP addresses. He will receive the packet, and in the packet he has information, and he will link the IP address with the MAC address, and he will send the packet to the right destination by using the MAC address, because he understands the MAC address. Okay? If this is the case, why would we configure it with an IP address? Because we want to manage the switch. So for example, we have a switch and you have interfaces. For example, the interface VLAN 10, I want it to be reserved only for the IT department. And then, for example, VLAN 20, I want it to be reserved only for the HR department, and so on. So why do we configure the IP addresses in the switch? So we can manage the switch, okay? That's why it's also called the management interface. As you see here, part 3, configure the switch management interface. Okay, I'm going to show you an example. Okay, here you see VLAN 10 is only for the IT department. So those PCs who are linked to the switch ports are reserved for the IT department, and they are under the virtual LAN 10. And then VLAN 20 is reserved for the HR department, and then you have the sales department. So VLAN 30 is reserved for the sales department. So in the switch management, we configure VLAN 10 for the IT department, VLAN 20 for the HR department, and VLAN 30 for the sales department. Okay? Let's go back to our packet tracer. Okay, so let's configure our VLAN in S1. Okay, let's do that. So there is our banner message of today. Our console password was Cisco. Then let's go to our privileged mode, and the password of our privileged mode was class. Then we're in. Let's go to the configuration mode. So let's go to our interface, VLAN 1. Okay, we are in our interface VLAN 1. Okay, then the IP address, let's give it an IP address. It's 192.168.1.253. Okay, subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, and then no shutdown. Okay, the state is up. Okay, let's exit our interface VLAN 1. Okay, we're out. Why do you enter the no shutdown command? Okay, so by default the state is always down, and if you put no shutdown, the state goes up. So if you want to see that, just use show IP interface brief. So let's exit our configuration mode. Exit. So if you want to see that, just use show IP interface brief. So show IP interface brief. Show IP interface brief, and then you're going to get all the interfaces. Okay, let's click on enter, searching for a VLAN, and here you see VLAN 1, the IP address of the S1, and then he's manually up. He's up. Okay. Configure S2 with an IP address. So we are in S1. Let's go to our S2. Let's click to our S2 and then do the same as S1. Okay, the password was Cisco. Then let's go to our privileged mode, enable. Then the password was class. Let's configure. So configure terminal. And then the IP address. S2, the IP address of S2 is this one. 192.168.1.254. Okay, don't forget the subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and then wait, I forgot something. I forgot my interface. Interface VLAN 1, and now I'm in my interface, my VLAN interface. Okay, just use the arrow up on your keyboard. You already typed the command, so just use the arrow up on your keyboard, and then no shut down. Here's the status up, and then exit. It's done. So show IP interface brief command to display the IP address and the status of all the switch ports and interfaces. You can also use show running config. We already did this in our here in S1. We already did this in S1, but let's do that here also. So exit show the interface brief. Okay, and here we see VLAN 1 for our switch 2, the IP address, and it's manually up. We also can use show running config, but I don't think you can see the ports, but we're going to try it. So show running config. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Okay, let's see. Now you see the interfaces, but you don't see if the state is up or not. You also see your encrypted password, and your line console password is not encrypted. Okay, which command is used to save our configuration? That's copy running config startup. Okay. Okay, that's done. We have to do that for S1 also because we didn't do that for S1. We're still here, that's good. So copy running config startup config. Yes. Okay, that's done also. Okay, I think we configured everything. Now let's verify our connectivity. Okay, so let's close this. Let's see, click PC1, and from PC1 we have to ping to PC2, switch 1 and switch 2. Okay, let's go to our addressing table to see our IP addresses. PC1. Okay, let's ping. Let's ping again. Here we try to ping S1. That's S1. Yes. Let's just retry. So it's done. Let's see now if it replies or not. See, it replies. That's well done. Okay, let's ping our S2. Okay, it replies. Now, last but not least, our PC2. Okay, it replies. So guys, you did a good job. So give yourself props and let's see our results. This one, see, you have 100%. You can check them. Let's check our results. Okay, let's do this assessment. So you did everything right. Connectivity test, we already did that. So you did, so good job guys, good job. Okay, let's close this. And also close this. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something, but I'm sure you learned something because I explained it so easy. And then I gave some examples. Why do we have to configure a switch, for example? Because if we configure a switch with IP addresses, we can manage it better. Okay, so guys, that's it for today. Please share, like, comment, and subscribe. And have a nice day. Bye!